Hey guys, Dustin Nguyen.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and you're listening to Bat Force Radio, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to Bat Force Radio. We have a delicious little treat of an episode this evening. Let's go around the round table and get everybody situated. We got Gramps in Dallas, Texas.
Howdy.
We got Robin over in Canada.
Hey.
We got Teases over on the East Coast holding it down.
You.
I am Bat Force Tom in, like I mentioned, soulless, godless California. And we're gonna get started here. Tim Burton's Batman was released 35 years ago this month, and it instantly changed not only the landscape of films, but pop culture. It became a paradigm-shifting moment in history, influencing filmmaking, film marketing, and what the superhero genre was and could be. It left a momentous impact on the lives of people all over the world, many of whom are now grown and still looking for ways to express what it inspired. You've heard Michael Keaton's movement double, Carl Newman, discuss the film's impact, as well as our friend Sean Reeves talk about how it inspired his life and career. Now we sit down with two gentlemen planning to leave their mark and statement about the film's influence. Batman One Dark Knight is a fan film written by Tim Leftwich and Nathan Trucks, seeking to recapture the magic of the 1989 Batman films in a new 8 to 10 minute action-packed short film. They're currently fundraising to reach a budget of $15,000, which allows them to bring the vision to life. They have some stretch goals that would allow them to do that job even better, adding better equipment, paying for crew, practical effects. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tim and Nathan to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course. And like we were saying off air, let us know let's let us know about yourselves. How did you get started? What's your background into, like films and filmmaking? How did 89 impact you guys, and why do you want to do this,
Well, I am Nathan Trucks. This is my producer, Tim Leftwich, on the project. And we are creating Batman One Dark Knight, a nice little 8 to 10 minute short film that we're trying to put together in the love of the 89 Burtonverse. And we thought, what a great special way to celebrate the 35th anniversary by trying to create a cool short film for everybody to really enjoy.
Both Nathan and I kind of came up with this concept together. We sat down and hammered out exactly what we want the short film to be, and we'll get to exactly how we got to that moment here in just a little bit. But after we got the script together, it kind of came to the point where we have to make the thing now, and this is part of the making the thing, to getting the word out, the getting the support, the letting people know that we have something really cool for you to see if we can just raise the $15,000 to $50,000 that we need to get it done.
Awesome. And so where did you guys get started with like the inspiration to get into the industry that you guys work in?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, with me, it's been a lifelong career move of mine. It's been a full passion drive forward. When I was 4, my dad would take me to the Aerospace Center, to the IMAX, to go watch things, and I just was kind of captivated ever since, and it's been a full passion of mine. So been doing it now professionally for about 15 years. Wow. And just made it out here I was in New York for 10 years prior, and then just about 2 years, March of 22, moved out to the West Coast to give that a try.
In New York, working on what, Nathan?
Saturday Night Live.
Really?
Underselling it. How was that?
It was very interesting. A lot of I didn't do the live show. I did their like music videos and their commercials.
Oh, nice.
And sort of their higher end scripted content sort of stuff. And that was pretty much a blast. We did it's usually like 1, maybe 2 17-hour long days, and then by the end it was on the air the next day. It's pretty crazy turnaround.
I've always been amazed at how great the production is in on such short notice. I mean, those things, the turnaround has to be quick. And I mean, I'm sure you guys, you just got stories about how long and how tedious you had to work on those, especially like the music video stuff.
Absolutely. And I imagine that it comes to the case where once you hit with a show like that, where you do a live show every week and then you throw it away and you start all over again, you hit your consistent marks, you make sure you hit your time. And if it's not the funniest thing in the world, you can't be beholden to everything that's on the air every second. You just have to make it the best you can and roll with it.
Yeah.
Did you work on Dick in the Box video?
I wish. No, that was I did work with the DP who shot those and was like did all of like those Lonely Island videos, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
The more one.
And I did Walking in
Weekend.
Memphis. Did Walking in Memphis,
Okay.
which is pretty fun, which had Method Man and Mark Cohen show up in it, which was pretty amazing.
Okay.
That's rad. Very cool. Very cool.
And so I also got started about 15 years ago. We met at around that same time working on a film together, Playing for Keeps. Playing the Field, I think was the working title. Playing for Keeps is what it eventually became known as, with Gerard Butler and Dennis Quaid. He worked in camera department, and I had just gotten out of grad school to be an actor. And so I was second team on that. And then when he went off into reality and live show land, I went off into internet TV land. And then long story short, 10 years in Austin, Rooster Teeth Productions, a travel channel where I cut my teeth getting really good at some of these technical aspects. We met back up here in Los Angeles about 2 years ago. He moved in March and said, "Hey, buddy, I hear you're moving. I got a job for you if you can be here by April." And I said, "I'll be there. Bet." And so I loaded my ass up in my car, got everything together, including my cat, and hauled butt here to godless Los Angeles, where I've been very happy ever since.
That's amazing. That good for you to, just like, I don't give a shit. I'm going. That's awesome.
It was the case of being ready.
Yeah.
Honestly, I worked my butt off to put myself through some serious boot camp to make up for time that other people had taken much better advantage of than I had. And I felt much more on par with the industry when I got here. So I, was able to hit the ground running, and thanks to some very good friends who were able to give me some good legs up, now we are both working professionals in the industry.
That's amazing. What I know, Nathan, you talked a little bit about like going with your dad to, a specific theater and kind of getting that exposure. What would you guys say was like the biggest inspiring or motivating either project, TV show? What was the thing that was like, okay, I want to do that. I want to make that.
Yeah.
So the first Batman thing I ever watched, I was born in 86. So I was a little bit too young when the 89 movie came out. However, when Batman Returns hit on home video, I was 7. So my parents got me the Batman movie. And let me tell you how terrible of a decision that was for that particular movie to be the one that a 7-year-old watches first. Oh my God. I mean, like, imagine the visual that you see in that penguin biting off a guy's nose and the giant scary duck, rubber duck, and like all the insane stuff you see in that second movie.
Yeah.
Tim Burton out the wazoo. That was my first exposure to the Batman.
Dude.
And then came the animated series, which is where I really fell in love with it. But like those images stick with you, dude.
Oh yeah.
What about you?
No, yeah. I mean, as far as like first incarnations with Batman, I was born in 91. So my first iteration was, VHS of Batman when I was 3 and 4 years old watching it because they're like, oh, it's Batman. Like, it's completely fine. My first movie theater experience going to actual movie theater was to go see Batman Forever. And I remember, I don't really remember seeing the movie, but I remember going in and seeing all of the display material that they had going into the theater. Just seeing the big posters and all the stuff hanging from the ceiling. And it was just really movie magic, and really cast that spell on you.
And that's one thing that Schumacher really did well. Like, out of everything you can say about those movies, they are certainly interesting to look at. They will get your attention.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of eye candy. There's just a full gamut of all the rogues. My daughter, even at the age of probably 7 or 8 years old, would just watch it nonstop, and I just couldn't really put that together until I really saw her go back to it over and over again. And to me, it makes sense. It's about the color and just the motion, and
Oh yeah.
And Jim Carrey acting like a living cartoon opposite Tommy Lee Jones, who cannot tolerate his buffoonery.
And then that was Jim Carrey at his professional peak. I don't think there's anyone. I think we all caught the bug. That marketing was full throttle for Batman by that time, for Batman Forever, because of the success of the first two. That by the time Batman Forever came out, you like the cups and the toys and everything. I don't know if I think everyone in here probably fell victim to some form of like marketing, buying up or collecting something around that time, at least I would think.
Absolutely.
Had the full Kenner, the full set of Kenner, Batmobile, Batwing, the whole full set. Like, there's pictures of me on Christmas Day in '95 coming up, and the whole Batcave is set up under the Christmas tree, and I'm just like, yes.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
I love that movie. I love that Batmobile. I love that Bat suit. I love that Bat actor. I love that movie.
Val Kilmer's great.
Val Kilmer is awesome.
What's not to enjoy? People can talk a lot of smack about those middle '90s movies, but damned if they aren't fun.
And especially I feel like Batman Forever, they had the blueprint of the marketing campaigns for the first two and saw what was successful and what worked. And what they did that time was the soundtrack. Like that was that was pushed out just as much as the movie. I felt like, or was tied to it with Kiss by a Rose, Kiss from a Rose. Jesus Christ,
Kiss from a Rose, from Seal, then U2.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what was the one for Batman Forever?
Was that like Kiss Me, Kill Me?
Yeah, U2,
Hold Me,
Offspring.
The wrong title.
Yeah, who else was on there? It was like, we celebrate.
Speaking of great Val Kilmer stuff, just completely off topic. If you are looking for a good Val Kilmer movie to fill out your repertoire with him, you've got to watch Top Secret. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's him doing an airplane style or hot shot style movie, like in his prime. Sings, he dances, he's hilarious. Trust me, if you like Val Kilmer even the slightest bit, if he's even at all your Huckleberry, go watch that damn movie. It is too good.
Say when.
Yeah.
I met him once.
No shit.
Yep.
really?
I met him with 50 Cent.
What the people? Fuck? What?
Yeah.
It's the beginning of a joke.
Red herring, yeah.
No.
Gramps, Val Kilmer, and 50 Cent walk into a bar.
It actually wasn't a bar. It actually was. I was playing in a band, and we were playing in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, good old Shreveport.
We know that place very well. That's where we met.
Yeah. And so before we played, we were hanging out in this bar, and me and my buddies were like, that looks like 50 Cent. There's no way.
Fucking crazy.
That's 50 Cent.
No
way.
So, why was 50 Cent there, Nathan?
Yeah. Well, 50 Cent, he's like, I think he might be somewhat originally from there, but he's now gone back and he's opened up and bought all the old film studios there in Shreveport and is opening up new film studios to try to like revamp the film community there.
Yeah. Well, they were filming kind of, the old casinos and stuff like that they were using to portray. They were like shooting some cop movie or something where they were using those casinos to portray Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, we're leaving, and obviously we approached 50, and there's this guy sitting next to him. I didn't recognize him at all. I did not recognize him at all. He did not look like Val Kilmer.
How long ago was this?
This was
Last week.
no. This was about 2008.
Okay.
So
He's a little meteor.
he was a little meteor, yes. Yeah. And he was just like sitting there like I feel so bad. He was like expecting us to recognize him too, and I was just like,
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, I'm Val Kilmer." I was like, "Holy shit! What? Wow!"
You get eyes the size of different plates. You're like, "Oh my, what?"
Yeah,
This,
and then
this sounds like the episode of Life is Too Short that Val Kilmer was on.
Yeah.
It was
The cartoon
George
version.
Clooney?
They were really cool. They were really
I
nice.
love
really
George
cool.
Clooney.
But yeah,
But yeah, no, Batman has been kind of a part of both of our lives for most of all of it. I don't think anybody who is our age or around that can deny how much somebody like Kevin Conroy absolutely influenced everything about what it is to be a hero. You know what I mean? And that era between the Keaton verse and the animated verse really kind of set in our brains exactly what Batman is supposed to be. He is a hardline hero who will take a punch to help somebody. And I am very adamant about that. Nathan and I have had so many conversations about the fact that I personally am going to go out on a limb here, my opinion, and say that none of the live action versions have really done the character justice to what he truly can mean, to what the animated series was able to do with having him attempt to save even the worst of us, because that's who Batman is. He is hope in my mind. And that's different than what a lot of people do with that character. And along the lines of maybe not necessarily what we're going to do in the short, but should we get a chance to tell a full story, very much along the lines of how we view the character.
Yeah.
Very
So that's
cool.
your gold standard animated series, Kevin Conroy's Batman. That's that's a great standard to have. I think no matter what film version you love, no matter what comic version you love, even the comic writers say when they write Batman, they're hearing Kevin Conroy's voice when they're writing for him. So
Always
yeah.
Kevin Conroy's voice in my head when Batman speaks. It's amazing.
Yeah. And
that Justice League Unlimited episode where Terry McGinnis finds old Amanda Waller and they find out about his origins and yada yada yada, and then they show the Batman clip of him taking on the Royal Flush Gang and Ace and how she's dying and how he deals with that. Like that moment, that is my character.
Very cool. Very
it's
awesome.
That's what makes, I guess, the character of Batman so great is there's so many iterations of so many versions, but we can all find the one that we like the most and that we identify the most. But he's one and the same. He's kind of like a big rainbow, and he fits, and it's just great. I love that. And I agree with you that I don't think that there's been a perfect live action version, and I blame that soulless, godless city of Hollywood because of the executive producers that stick their fingers in everything.
That's what it is.
And that's why the animated series was able to pull off what they could.
Mm-hmm.
They were pushing the boundaries, but they didn't have all this meddling in. You need to do this. You need to put this product placement here, and I need him to do this because this is what I want him to do.
That was back when Warner Brothers maybe not trusted necessarily, but turned a blind eye to a lot of what the animators were doing because Steven Spielberg was making a killing for them. What would they have to say about Animaniacs or Tiny Toons or any of the Paul Dini stuff?
Right.
It was all making bank. And so, they were able to push all sorts of boundaries.
Right.
Yeah.
So getting how that relates to our project. So when Nathan and I sat down and came up with this thing, we had a couple of guidelines and a couple of provisos that we wanted to make sure that we hit to make sure we stayed true to the character. Our Batman, for example, in the short, it's not going to talk. I'm sorry. We're going to have a very quiet night for Batman because our Batman's strength is in the form and the function.
Yeah. And if you look at it and all the stuff, Keaton Batman doesn't speak unless he's speaking to the main bad guy. Yeah. He's all the time. He doesn't have time for really any of the other goons, except for, our first introduction to him in the 89 Batman film where he says it to the goon and says his name. That's the only time that he doesn't speak to like a main character. of a villain. And so we really wanted to keep up with that and really play with that silent Batman in through the shadows.
And how intimidating he can be when he is just a force.
So did your Batman actor spend like hours working on his Batman voice, and you guys told him, no, you're not going to talk?
I will say that the conversations were had. And so here's the thing. I gave our actor a challenge. I want to portray all that seriousness, all that gravitas with no words, because there are so many conversations that you could have about what Batman sounds like. And frankly, we don't have the time nor the inclination to have those conversations when we don't need to. We just don't.
And there are just so many times where, as soon as Batman opens his mouth in a fan film, it's over. And it's
well,
like,
also, like you said, I mean, when you have in your mind, you hear Kevin Conroy, and we no longer have Kevin Conroy, it kind of defeats the purpose there, right? I mean, it's kind of hard. It's such a bar so high, you'll never meet that bar. So why?
Right. And with what we're doing with an 8 to 10 minute short, there is no need for that. We are able to tell our 3-act story in that amount of time with pure action and reaction. And that's what we're going to do. We have 4 very good sets that we're going to go in between for our short. We are going to open up on some very nice stylized rooms. We have a Daredevil style hallway fight planned that has several of our special effects in that one-shot fight. That one-shot fight will be shot by Neil Bryant, who is the camera operator who just won the SOC Camera Operator of the Year for his work as the camera operator on The Last of Us.
Nice.
Yes, he shot those episodes, including that one. Yeah, that one. The one with the rain and the 2 guys and the awfulness, awful crying and sad, and that one. He shot that one. And so he is going to shoot our hallway Daredevil style fight scene. And we have been able to get so many awesome, talented people to commit to our vision. They have read our script. They have seen what we have written, how efficient it is, how captivating it is, how purposeful every moment is, and have said, no, this is going to do gangbusters. And if people who have the same amount of length of time in this industry that I do are saying that, I'm willing to believe them.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
I'm curious because, you have experience with the Saturday Night Live, the commercials and the music videos. For an 8 to 10 minute short movie, short film, how many hours do you spend filming for that?
Right now, we have planned to shoot for 3 days for those. One of those days, particular being how we're going to be filming it is our Warner Daredevil fight scene in the hallway.
Right.
That we plan on being around 3 minutes of full runtime of just full on Michael Keaton action. We plan on having more Michael Keaton Batman action than has ever appeared in all of the combined movies together. Like, if you look at it and go back to those films, Batman is only on screen kicking ass for less than 5 minutes in all of the movies. Like, he's there, he's lurking. Carl is all over the place, which was so amazing when I got to meet up with Carl and chat with him. We're still working on trying to get him here overseas.
Really?
And stuff with it. Yeah. Right now we're trying to get him overseas to try to do some stuff for the 35th anniversary. So he's totally on board. So that's for another time, another topic. But he's totally on board to try to get some stuff going with us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Carl's the best.
Yeah. And so as we've been kind of putting this whole thing together, it's just been a process that has used all of our skills, the ability to put things together in a hurry, how to build a marketing package, how do we shoot our video, how do we approach camera companies to be able to get gear, to be able to figure out how we're going to pay our people. I, as one of the writers, had a fun time sitting there and typing it all out and making all this shit up. And then I put on my producer's hat and I go, this is all really fucking expensive. Why did I do this?
Yeah. I mean, we're learning that, just to have a lit candle on a set, it's $3,000 to get the proper permits and different stuff.
Safety
like
meeting.
that. Yeah. And we're trying to literally light a man on fire.
So
At one point.
so that is why we have our budget stacked the way that it is. We want to make sure that we can take care of our crew, that we're not asking people who are of pedigree to work for free, because we're not about that life. We want to make sure that we can pay for the proper permits to do our special effects safely. We have fog effects, we have smoke effects, we have fire, and we want to freeze a guy. That's another one. Don't worry about that.
That's a clue.
So there's a reason why this ice grenade is one of our perks back here. This ice grenade, I can tell you right now, is one of the biggest pains in the ass that I have ever done. This grenade right here, let's see, where's the focus at? Right about there-ish. This ice grenade we were able to make for our package. How about that, Nathan?
There you go.
Perfect.
Oh,
Awesome.
Nice.
And so this is a 3D printed model that I was able to find and modify online and add.
Oh,
nice.
And that is the animated series, Bat Signal.
And so when you activate it, this is a prototype model. I promise the real one will work much better than this. This is a prototype. It turns on. It has LEDs that function and run around the edge, indicating that the ice grenade is active. And it is fully wired up, and Arduino board and everything on the inside runs off a 9-volt battery down on the bottom. And that is our basically top of the line physical perk. If you pay $200, you get this plus every other physical perk item that we have.
Wow.
That is the level of detail that you guys are working at, it looks like.
Yes, because we want to make something that's really cool. Like just genuinely really cool. We have camera tricks planned. We have gadget gags planned. We have all kinds of Batman stuff. Every single takedown that we have is purposefully planned to be efficient, but also really cool. You know, and we've made sure to write something, plan something, make something that will be easy for the two of us to get done, but also, frankly, probably one of the coolest Batman things you've seen in a long time. I'm going to toot our own horn a little bit because we have absolutely made something really cool.
Yeah.
Has some cool abilities for character cameos in there. And the best part, this leads to a bigger story. I don't know that we'll ever get to tell that bigger story, and we'll tell you guys off camera because it's really good. But it does lead to a bigger story with a character that hasn't been touched in several years and has just been left to chill for a bit. And we want to make good on that. So all of this is to build a calling card, build a repertoire of something really great that all of our people who made something can look to be like, no, we want the full budget. We want the keys to the kingdom to make something really great.
Nice.
It always amazes me how fan-based films, and I've supported some other fan-based films, they always do it right. You know, they always
it's care, and it's exactly what you were talking about earlier about no intervention.
Yeah. I mean, all the meddling from the big brass and you know,
noting things like that, focus groups, all that. We don't have to worry about that. You are going to get our pure, unadulterated vision for better, worse, and otherwise.
Now, one thing, you know, you mentioned you have some rules. I didn't hear a rule about Alfred letting love interest into the Batcave. Is that one of your rules?
Another thing we have done to keep production cheap, you will not see a Batcave, and I think you may hear an Alfred, but you probably won't see one either.
Okay.
All of that save plans for the full thing, we promise. But this one is just a night out for Batman. So, yeah. That being said, I don't know. Me personally, love interest in the Batcave. If we're talking Selena Kyle, probably. If it's another suit, is what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? Probably. Yeah. But if it's the latest model that Bruce Wayne just brought home,
Alfred, we got to have a talk.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I know.
Alfred, please give her everything she requires and send her home in a nice car. Thank you so much.
Was
Alfred?
I had a question. When you started writing your story and you wanted to kind of pinpoint in the timeline of the '89 Burton verse, Was it important to kind of focus on a certain time of the movie, or could this be something that could just be a typical day from Batman, or like
Well, our
chronologically
biggest
in
thing
your
was
head, like,
is that this whole project stemmed from finding our Batman actor. Ed Gage is our actor, brilliant human being, and the big part was that his suit was the '89 Batman suit,
and it looked amazing. It looks amazing on camera. There's zero doubt about that. Lit properly, that thing is awesome. It's made from original production molds, both the cowl and the suit. It looks awesome when it's single source lit, which is the secret we have discovered to Batman, and that allowed us to basically, like you say, make it one dark night in Batman's story. In our minds, I would say it probably takes place after the movie, but before '92.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, we would say in between. We had a couple little Easter eggs and some of our behind the scenes stuff that we shot where, he's tinkering and he's got the returns emblem sitting on a mock suit, and kind of stuff like that. So we would say in between 89 and 92.
Being fans for a long time and having a 3D printer, we've been able to make some fun Batman stuff over the years. And one of the things that Nathan made was that 1992 homing Batarang, the really fucking big one, and so we shot a promo video recently that will be coming out probably around the time this airs, that has him soldering away on that new Batarang, but it's not ready yet because we're not in 92 yet. So, we've had a lot of fun kind of playing with the time period and being like, no, it's after the movie, before the next one. Sometime in there, one dark night.
Cool.
Not with a K.
Speaking of detail and attention to detail,
there she is.
Parts of this suit are Reeves's work, which I'm not sure which parts of it, but
yes, the cowl is Sean Reeves, and the emblem. I know the bodysuit itself is Superhero Concepts, which they are out of Canada, I do believe. The utility belt is the NECA utility belt.
No way.
Oh.
Yeah, genuinely.
That's so amazing.
Code.
It looks so good on camera and stuff. We're even able to do like the clip in where we did some close-ups of the belt clipping together and stuff. It was great.
We did the full Schumacher suit up thing for one of our promo videos.
Oh, with the ass shot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that particular suit does not have a plastic ass.
Yeah.
So we could not do that. Yeah. Hilariously enough, you'll be interested to know no plastic ass on that suit.
What's awesome about this is that you got a Batman '89 fan film that's using a cowl that is scanned from the original mold and life scan that Keaton had. Then you're not getting any more closer to if that's a Reeves cowl, that is close as you get to art, like official genuine Keaton. Because I think Reeves killed a guy for that scan or something. Or I can't remember what he did.
Allegedly.
Nothing confirmed.
I can't remember how he got his
and Ed looks great in it. He has those movements down, that stiffness of the neck as he moves. Ed does that perfectly.
Can I say this looks like a young Carl Newman? I mean,
I can see that.
I won't disagree with you.
He's actually talked with Carl a whole bunch on asking him how he used to do a lot of his movements. He actually, the other gentleman his stunt double as well, David, I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head. He recently passed away.
Oh.
But he had a chance to chat with him and talk with him about how he did his stunt movements and really learned how to make those chest movements and be able to bring that Keaton to life. And that was something that we really discovered that he could do really well during our first meeting and movement test that we did.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Ed's 5'10", 32. So perfect stats for Batman.
Keaton.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't have asked for better. And he just got a brand new cowl. So for those who are watching right now, if you want your own Reeves cowl, you can actually get the one that Ed has been wearing in all of those pictures that you've seen and all of our promotional material as one of our perks. That is available to purchase on our Indiegogo page.
The fact that he's willing and you guys are willing to let that go is crazy, because I would be buried with one of those things if it was me. So
yeah, it is a battle worn Keaton cap.
yeah.
You can't get much better than that. And so he just got a brand new one that we're going to be filming with. We're actually going to shoot an unboxing video with him on that sometime over the next couple of days, because it just arrived, I think, yesterday.
Oh,
So
wow.
very,
It
very
literally
exciting
started.
there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Does he wear
Very
Air
cool.
Jordans?
We've been trying. We've discovered there's a couple people who do make the boots that are really good, but you'd be surprised how expensive it is to make these damn suits. I mean,
Yeah.
the boots, $350 for the boots, which is like the same amount as the cowl. And it's like, you understand the cowl being that much because of it being a live scan and the process of that. But come on, the boots.
That's $350 before the Nikes.
Yeah, before throwing the Nike on there.
Oh,
just get him some Uggs.
Yeah.
The boots that he's got look fantastic. He said in our suit video, which is another thing that'll be coming soon, a breakdown of exactly his back suit, where he got each piece, where it comes from, the pedigree, et cetera, and the boots are in there. But they look fantastic, honestly. And when you film Batman as a cowboy shot from ankles up anyway, how much are you really going to see the boots? Let's call it what it is. How much are you really paying attention to the boots? Because you're looking at the cape, you're looking at the ears, you're looking at the cowl, you're looking at the emblem.
Yeah.
You're looking at the not plastic ass.
Right, exactly.
No one knew the secret that they were Nikes, for the longest time, the Jordans, and so that's just a fun fact about it. What an absolute amazing resource to have as you're making a fan film, as your Batman is getting prepared, to have the ballet bat Carl Newman himself kind of offer you some insight into how to move, and just that's so insane. Like I'm sure at some point, like us, when we found out who Carl was and like where he was, we had been listening to documentaries specifically about this dancer, this man that they hired to really perform the technicality and the move of the bat suit and the turn and the cowl and the hero turn and all that. And you had heard about him, and now he's here. It's like this uncovered gem that has been like brought to and to hear that like your Batman got a chance to chat with him and get a little inspiration from him is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, when you find out how much Carl was in that first movie, it's like
Unreal.
If it wasn't Batman saying something in a close up, it was Carl.
Yeah.
Like throughout everything of going up at the end and him standing there watching the bat signal, the very inspiring thing that me as a kid, I remember I'd always stand up during that orchestra outro and watch that as it goes out, just so epic and just all out Batman Carl. Carl at the very beginning of the film coming down and getting those goons, like it's just incredible being able to kind of get to work with Carl and being able to chat with him. I definitely fangirled out for a moment when I got to Skype with him a couple of months back.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And as you were saying, Tim, a 7-year-old kid watching 92 for the first time, you're like, what was my parents thinking? We've talked a lot about. I was barely 3 years old when I saw 89. That was my first that was my first theater experience, first movie experience. And like you guys are saying right now, I was 3 years old running around with a cape and cowl, not knowing that I'm emulating Carl Newman the whole time. Yes, Mike Keaton's Batman, but I'm doing the turn, I'm flipping my cape, I'm standing in my, I remember being a little boy in the shower, just pretending to stand, and I have to look like this. This is how I look, mother. Look at what I'm doing. This is Batman. And it's Carl's movement. And it's an entire generation of people were doing that, and so it's incredible.
Absolutely. There is a power and a strength and a confidence to the way that he approached every single movement that he did that really built on what the character of Batman, not necessarily Bruce Wayne, but Batman was, as this immovable object that became the ideal for everything going forward. They really set the tone, to borrow a phrase, from exactly what Batman should be in regard to the physicality and the mood and attitude. That they really nailed that, and that's something that we are carrying forward in a big bad way.
That's phenomenal.
Now,
talking to the way you guys are describing the detail of your project, one of the fun things about going back and listening to behind the scenes featurettes is, and you know, like Carl and other people, like they back when they were making films back then, there were like 3 or 4 dudes that were Batman. It wasn't one actor and one stunt double. It was you had a movement double, you had a karate guy, you had a guy specifically for driving, you have a guy, you know, then you have Keaton. But that level of detail is throughout the entire film in general, just with every aspect of it. And it sounds like you guys are really taking that time and care, that kind of feel to it at your project as well. So I think
we really want to root the project in as much realism as possible. You know, Batman is in the real world, and I've seen like a lot of the fan films will have a lot of special effects in it and stuff like that. And being a fan film, we can't afford $50 million special effects budget, so it can kind of look a little dated every once in a while and stuff. And you know, we're just thinking of why should we really try to convolute the budget with some special effects when we can really try to do it for real. When we started really looking at it, and you know, with us working in the industry, we kind of do it for real at a certain point, you know, unless they want to throw it on a green screen and stuff. We have access to being able to kind of get some of this stuff for real and do it and really show and bring something special that a lot of fan films don't actually have. Our Batman is a Hollywood trained stunt actor. He's been in The Mandalorian. What else is he been in?
Westworld. That Al Pacino show on Amazon not too long ago. I forget.
Mindhunters or something like that. Not Mindhunters.
I forget. But yeah, he is an actual trained Hollywood stuntman. I told you before, a camera operator from The Last of Us is on this. We have access to fully trained stunt people. We have access to special effects teams that do this for a living and all just love Batman. And so they're willing to give us cutthroat rates to be there, to do something, because the keys to the kingdom don't get given to anybody. And who doesn't want to make a Batman thing? So as long as we are making zero profit on this, we are not affiliated with DC Comics or Warner Brothers Entertainment in any way, shape, or form. This is a fan film, and we hope to get this made. And that will allow people to have the credits on their resume, say they worked on a Batman thing, get to work with Ed, which, let me tell you something. When he walks out in that suit, I don't care how old it is that we're working with. They're 12, and they're looking at their favorite superhero because it's Batman right in front of you.
Yeah.
There's something undeniable about that.
Yeah. And it really changes when he has that suit on, because it's not just a cosplay suit. I mean, with how much is on that with the original scans and stuff, you feel like you're standing in the room with Batman. It's not like you're there with an actor who kind of has like, oh, it's kind of like the weird belt is off and different stuff like that. But you're standing right next to Batman. You can see like the rubber and the material in the cowl as it comes down, and like the small imperfections that are in there. It's so organic feeling. You know, it doesn't feel like something that was just sort of put together in your closet and then you came outside. Now I'm Batman.
Right. A lot of fan films, this is not to say Batman fan films, but a lot of fan films in general, their costuming feels like it might be from, let's say, a second tier store. I'm not going to fully say somebody like Party City because everybody tries really hard. But unfortunately, the costumes can't look as good as they could if you had a lot of money to pour into them. And we lucked out with an actor who already had an amazing looking suit. We are making things to make the costumes that we give our performers grounded, but also in the world. So like one of our perk items is this goon mask here. This mask will be worn by some of our goons, and it is a 3D printed mask with EL wire inside of it that makes it all light up, including inside of the eyes. And they will be wearing this over a balaclava like this with garb appropriate to the person that they work for. How about that? How about that for a tease? And so, yes, this without the balaclava is something that is available to get, because we wanted to make things for what we do, but we also wanted to make it easy enough that I could make it and make enough for people to have. Let's face it, that's pretty stunk and cool.
I can't believe we're going to get Batman versus Darth Vader. That's so cool. Again. Oh, that'd be awesome.
It's toys. It's toys that you get to play with and have in your hand and shoot and film, and that's what was so awesome about those movies, those films, is like they had so much amazing gadgetry and little detail, and it makes you want to own parts of it and track them down. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's where a lot of this started, was just wanting to do we love Batman. Nathan made this by hand, 3D printed, put together, sanded down, bondoed, painted by hand, because that's how much we love Batman. Like these characters that you grow up with, you become attached to, they have a way to deliver a message. They have a way to tell a story. They have a way to connect with people that is unlike traditional prose, let's say. The superhero genre allows you to tell human stories in superhero settings, and it allows the audience member to forget about what they're being told until it hits them sometimes. And there's a lot of power to that, a lot of ability to tell some wonderful stories in there. And that's what we're trying to tap into. The love of a franchise, the love of a hero, and the love of really cool action stuff.
Awesome.
Please tell us, for those listening, where can they go to support it? Where can they go to make this happen? Where can they go to pledge and also to kind of gain access to some of the perks?
So you can find the link on all of our social medias. It's not super easy to say, so bear with me. The short link is igg.net, I believe, /@/Batman One Dark Knight. Tried desperately to try and get something that's a bit less wordy, but the short link for Indiegogo stuff is igg.net /@/ and then the project name. So for us, it's Batman One Dark Knight. However, you can search Batman One Dark Knight, and we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, all the social medias, and the link to the Indiegogo page is there.
And we'll put up the links for everything along with the episode as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Please, if I may make just an impassioned speech to your audience. If you want to see some really cool Batman stuff, if you're a fan even in the slightest, consider checking out our page. And if you think it's cool, if you think we've done a great job, consider giving us a little bit of money. And we will, in return, give you a really great physical perk. Maybe you want a Batarang. How about a Batarang? Full-size Batarang? 3D printed, painted, just for you? And a whole bunch of other wonderful stuff.
Yeah, we have essentially every prop from the 89 Batman film will be available to purchase in a full package, including with our full ice grenade, mask, grapple gun, all the fun stuff, which we're very excited to be able to give a nice product for everybody to enjoy. And I mean, and there's even a perk, for a wild ticket item, if you guys want to own the Batmobile.
That was insane.
We've got a perk of owning the Batmobile. You drive away with the Batmobile.
Whose is that? And
we know people who build them.
Okay, I was going to say.
To build a Batmobile would be around $250,000.
Oh,
so if somebody were to buy our golden ticket item for $350,000, they would fund our entire film for $100,000, which would give us the ability to do probably way more than 10 minutes, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that enables us to create a new scene, expand out, and flesh out some cool characters that don't get too much of a chance to shine in the short that we have now. But it would give us to go full Shazam budget, which would be amazing.
Yeah. And whoever does that would then get to drive away with the Batmobile that we use when we are finished.
I would drive to England.
You can't afford to not do it.
I mean, listen, there are enough people in Hollywood who do that kind of high budget collecting that should we get word around and somebody want to buy our high budget item, then that's great. If it doesn't happen, that's great too. This sort of a goof, half gag, maybe serious, maybe. What if? We'll see. I'm not crazy concerned about it. However, we do know people who make the Batmobile, and we can get one made for you in a very timely fashion if whoever you are, big whale out there who wants to shell out the money for your very own Batmobile.
Mm-hmm. And that's another beauty about having the Keaton Batman is that we can have a Batmobile in our short film. Like, how amazing is that to really show off that kind of production value of, oh, cool, like we've got a cool Batman suit and stuff. And then the Batmobile drives up. And it's like, hold on, what happened here? Are we on the Warner Brothers lot? Nay. It feels like.
What tier do I have to pledge to get punched by Batman? Because that's what I really want.
Depends where you want to get punched.
Fair. There is a perk to order yourself a cameo from Batman, so we can get you a digital punch. And there's also a perk to attend a physical premiere should we reach a certain goal level. Cool. There are also perks to be a producer and come to set and be there while we work. Have your name in the credits and on an official IMDb page. And you can also be there with us while we make Batman stuff. So there's all different kinds of ways to support, to interact, to be a part of our wonderful, wonderful vision. Yeah. And if we have at all impressed you with anything that you see when you go to our page, please consider donating.
This isn't just about us. This is about creating something that all Burtonverse Batman fans can really get behind and truly be able to cherish for a long time to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better, man.
One of the things that, we mentioned at the intro was we're seeing so many people in a professional setting that grew up with this at a very pivotal time in their lives when they were children. And this is like the thing that you guys have been waiting to do since you were little kids, and you can tell the passion behind it. And so it's amazing to see you guys kind of get together and put it into fruition. It's very inspiring. And I hope that it inspires listeners to go check out the program. I'm going to pledge, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to question people's morals, their integrity, probably maybe even maybe deviations of natures that I won't get into that possibly this is a reason why they wouldn't pledge. But I'll just leave that. I'm not putting any pressure on anyone. I'm just questioning, the moral fabric of an individual who would withhold the ability to do so. So, absolutely.
Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate that, man.
What would you guys say, when you start getting the ball rolling on this thing, and you're going to start it up? What is, for each of you, what is the one thing aside? I would say, obviously, aside from the bat suit and the Batman, aside from that, what were you like? We got to have this in it. For me, I have to put this in there, whether it's like a prop or what one thing where you guys, as long as I get this in there, I'm going to be, we got to do it. Anything for either of you?
I would say my big thing is I've always been a fan of the bat silhouette of the cowl and just him in the darkness and offsetting him with colors, kind of like the old Japanese style samurai movies where you just sort of have that silhouette off of a huge stark color. Loved that Schumacher did that in Batman Forever in the bank vault where it goes all red and it's just him in that stark kind of scene. And so that was something that when I came through, I wanted to have a moment where all the lights go off and it goes red. And then we're in there with Batman in a red room where he's silhouetted and disappears into the shadows and stuff. And so I really wanted to be able to play with that.
Yeah, like Carl at the roof of Axis Chemicals and a silhouette, in front of that big neon sign too. That reminds me. I love that imagery too. That sounds phenomenal. Exactly. How about you, Tim?
For me, the one that I really, really, really wanted to get was the slow rising shot. That hero down low, slow rising shot of Batman coming to full tall. That is such an iconic Batman thing, and the way we have our shot of that planned is going to be so cool, you guys. I will tell you guys when we get off of here, but trust me, Batman is going to break into your hearts and rise up to show how awesome he truly is. I can't even, I don't want to give anything away, but trust me, what we have planned and for that moment in particular as one of our favorites is so cool. It's so cool, you guys. It's so cool. Just thinking about it, I'm like, it's so goddamn cool.
Very awesome.
And that's so that right there is exactly what we want for this entire short, where we talked about it being grounded. We talked about the way we're going to kind of play with the fun lights and fun cameras and stuff. So it is going to be dark, but it's not going to be dark and gritty. There is the ability to have giggle moments, maybe not like laugh moments.
There were fun moments in the Keaton movies that we wanted to bring.
Moments to make you go, that guy's going to get it real good.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And so we wanted to have a couple of moments like that in there too. It's funny.
The charm.
And it's also effective, and it's harrowing in part. Like, we really ride that emotional roller coaster throughout this 8 to 10 minute 3-act structure that we've done. It's really cool.
Yeah. You forget those moments. If you've watched this movie so many times, you watched 92 so many times, you forget what that's like. And shout out DC Films in Concert. Or if you go to any screening of 89 in person or Batman Returns in person with a crowd, with a crowd, it really emphasizes there's some funny parts, there's some charming parts, there's some silliness, and put
Kevin Conroy Batman. Kevin Conroy Batman is funny. He's really funny.
Done the right
Not
way.
all the time, but when Keaton's Batman tells a joke, it's fucking hilarious.
That is true.
Personally, I think that's what really bugs Joker the most.
Yeah, that's a good point. You weigh a little more than 108. Yeah.
To add to Tom's comment too, like when I saw Batman in concert, you don't realize how much of a tennis match it is between like Keaton and Nicholson. Like, it's really just a banter between, and Vicky Vale happens to be around, but it is really slapstick humor and just literally a tennis match of just them kind of just like trolling each other nonstop. And you don't realize that until you're kind of a little older, because when you're younger, you're focusing on the action and the suit and the epicness of him being in that new iteration that we've grown to love. But as you get older, you're like, holy shit, this is a skit. Like Nicholson kind of steals the show, and it's really like an SNL skit, right? Of these guys just trolling each other nonstop, and it's hilarious.
And it's every moment when a goon turns around and Batman's right there, and then he like gives him a little smirk. Like, it's every moment like that where you're just going, oh man, that's such cool Batman shit. That we wanted to have all of those kinds of moments. So every goon takedown we have is slightly different, but they all represent every single kind of Batman takedown that there is, from the shadows, from off screen, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And sorry, spoilers. I'm just not going to give it to you. And and we have every kind of bat gadget we could feasibly get away with without going into CG or special effects. We're not going to be messing with computers on this. We're going to be doing everything practical and in the camera. So our ice grenade gag is going to be an in-camera gag. Not going to be doing any CG special effects, maybe some augmentation, but no actual like CG form stuff will be in there, because we want to challenge ourselves and we think it's cooler that way.
Sure.
If I'm being completely honest with you.
Now, do you have an accompanying score with this?
We do have a composer picked out already. His name is Mike, and his last name is a little complicated. Stand by. But Mike B is our composer for this, and he has a wonderful repertoire. Mike Bridegem is his full name.
Okay.
He is our current composer and will be going and making our score for this. We have given him copious notes, but most of them boil down to Danny Elfman and Shirley Walker.
We really want to accompany, to make it feel like it's almost like a lost episode of the animated series or a deleted scene from Batman. Just really, it's just taken and picked off from the world, and now here we are. Hey guys, you didn't know that this night happened. This is just a night in the patrol.
One Dark Night.
Yeah. Excellent.
We tried to name it somewhat appropriately. Titles are hard, man.
Yeah. Well, speaking of names and titles, when we were kind of coordinating you guys jumping on, do you have another producer named Keaton?
Yes, we do. Keaton is our boots on the ground producer right now. He is helping us manage our locations, figure out permits, and get a lot of our back end stuff done. Keaton has been an addition to the crew after Nathan and I came up with everything, got together with our Batman and shot that initial trailer, which I got to say, it's kind of my fault. We are an hour in and have not actually told how this came about yet. Sorry. Let me backtrack just a small bit. So Nathan met Ed. Ed and Nathan wanted to shoot a fight scene for Nathan's reel. Something really cool with Batman, a photo shoot, get some really nice shots with him in that awesome suit.
Yeah, because how often you get to film Batman, you know, and stuff. So I've been looking for around a couple of different actors and a couple of different people for a little bit to try to reach out to, and saw Ed, you know, his Insta handle, Hollywood Batman. And I was like, oh, well, this guy is right here in my backyard. I wonder if he'll, you know, say hello and reach out. And turns out it's Ed, like one of the nicest human beings I've met since moving out to this godless land.
Yeah, seriously. And so we shot that first night in a parking garage about 2 hours. And you can see that as our, I think I called it Untitled Batman Short Concept Teaser, lighting teaser, something like that. We were just wanting to see how the suit looked in lighting and how it looked on camera. And when we got back home that night, I sat there, we looked at the scenes, and I put it in Premiere, and I was like, you know what, buddy? Why don't you walk away for 30 minutes and come back, and I'll have something real special for you. And I found some cool music. I put the shots together, and we had ourselves our first teaser, where I was like, if we want to, we could make a thing. That got sent over to a producer friend of Ed's, who was suddenly like, hey, well, I'll give you starter money. If you want to make this thing, I'm into making fan films, I'll give you some starter money. And his name was Michael Matsatsos. He is our executive producer on this film so far. And he gave us our initial starter money to start getting the perks made so that we would have stuff to show you guys, get our backer video shot, our location shot, all that good stuff. And you were about to say?
Oh, no, I was saying, yeah, helped us finalize our location for our mood teaser, our rooftop location, which turned out really well.
And that kind of forced a fire under our asses because, you know, we're both kind of busy and doing a lot of other stuff. But when you've got two people as enthusiastic as they are, like literally pushing you forward, it's kind of hard not to fly on that enthusiasm, especially considering we wanted to make this anyway. So suffice to say, a lot of this is kind of by accident, but a forced error, if you will. And so we purposefully then were like, okay, now we have a project. Nathan and I wrote the script. I told you that story before. And then it was time to shoot the mood teaser. We were able to have a buddy of ours at a local business that shall go nameless right now that allowed us to use their color correction suite in there, which was very nice. They hooked us up with a lot of gear to allow us to shoot some really beautiful stuff. And that particular company has been very cooperative with us to allow us to be able to do far and beyond what we would be able to do on our own. So we really thank them for that. And that has allowed us to get here, ostensibly, where we are now at the marketing phase, where we're trying to raise money for the budget to make the full thing. I think, did I miss anything? I think I kind of caught most of it.
Okay. No, that felt pretty good.
Yeah.
No, and it was really cool to be able to come and chat with you guys. I've been following Bat Force for years. I think since you guys kind of got started with everything, and actually met Tom years ago at the 35th anniversary Dark Knight Returns Hastings book signing.
Yeah.
I was just randomly there, and I was with my buddy, and I'm like on Instagram, and I was like, oh, Bat Force Tom is here. He's here somewhere. And then a disturbance on the shoulder right next to me, and he goes, I'm Bat Force Tom. I was like, oh, it was a cool little moment there.
Don't tell his wife.
We were in Hawaii.
Yes.
We were in Hawaii with our friends, and literally we were like driving through Maui, and Maui Comics, I think it's moved at the time, or it's moved since then. And my friends were like, do you, when you go to like comic shops or places, like, do people recognize you? And I was like, sometimes it's like, you know, like, yeah, we have a following, so people kind of recognize my voice or my face. And my wife was like, it's so fucking annoying. he thinks he's so fucking cool. And I'm like, okay, geez. And we go to Maui Comics just because it's the only comic shop in Maui, and I was like, we got to go. I want to buy a comic. I want to take a picture. Go inside, and I found, I think it was a, I walk in, the first thing I see is a Batman Black Lantern like zombie mask, right?
Oh, wow.
And I go, I need to have that. So I'm like, how much is that? And the guy's like, oh, $15. I was like, "Pfft, mine. So I grab the Batman Blackest Night zombie mask. I walk outside and I take a selfie of it and I post it to Instagram, and I'm like, just pick this up from Maui Comics, right? Within minutes, a guy from inside the shop runs out into the parking lot with my wife and my two friends we were just having this conversation about. He goes, Bat Force Tom? And I go, yeah, what's up, man? He goes, I thought that was you. And then you posted this on Instagram. Now I know can I get a picture, man? I was like, absolutely. Let's get a picture. And my wife is like, are you fucking kidding me? He's not famous. Why do you want a picture with him? It's
jealous.
It was really funny.
That's it's okay. It's okay. Everybody gets their moments to shine. I'm sure somebody will come up and ask for her picture as well.
Oh yeah,
that's how her supervillain story started.
It really was. Speaking of that meeting, Nathan, I mean, not to make Gramps jealous, but that was a Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns signing, and then as we're sitting there,
Stan Lee showed up.
To our surprise, no announcement. There was the middle of the Q&A, and then someone's like, I think somebody else has a question. And you just hear over the speaker, I got a question. Who would win in a fight? Batman or Captain America? And everyone turns, and it's Stan Lee walking through the crowd with a microphone, and everyone just went nuts.
I feel like he's told me this story before.
One of the most insane, amazing. And he goes and he sits at the table, and he just starts gushing about this man has been such an influential voice for comics since he debuted. And he's just going on and on about Frank Miller. And then we sat there and watched Frank Miller have a conversation with Stan Lee for like 20 minutes. And everyone in the crowd just...
That's
amazing.
Fucking insane.
It was my only time I ever got to see Stan. There was another time he was going to meet him at East Coast Comic-Con. And then he got under the flu, or it was a Big Apple Con on the East Coast, and then they flew in Jim Lee to replace him. So like we switched out the Lees.
Yeah.
One Lee's good as another, right? Yeah. It's like, well, kind of, mostly.
Yeah,
I'll say mostly.
Phenomenal, boys. This was fantastic. Again, everyone go check out the Indiegogo campaign, Batman One Dark Knight. Bid, pledge, make sure we get this thing funded. We want to see it happen. It's by two passionate fans, just like everyone listening and just like us. So we're very excited to get involved. Thank you guys for coming by and sharing your time with us and talking all about it. We'll have some fun off camera. And but any other questions, boys, for the two?
I wanted to ask one thing. Do you guys read current comics?
I know Nathan does as much as he can.
Yeah, I try. I just got done reading. I just got started doing Sean Murphy. I love Sean Murphy and all of his Batman verse stuff. And he just started doing Zorro, Man of the Dead. And I got super excited when I heard he was doing a Zorro project. And, the Shadow, Batman, and Zorro, those are my top three. Yeah. And, I was like, oh, I'm on board immediately. So I was super happy when that one happened. So, but
I was curious because when I first saw the title of your project, it hit me like, I wonder what the relation, because there's a comic from just a few years ago called Batman One Dark Knight by Jock.
Yes. With a K, correct?
Yes. And according to Clayman, he prefers your title. Because get the nonsense wordplay out of here with the K, because they have a Batman Nightfire story coming out, and it's Nightfire, N-I-G-H-T.
Not Knight.
Yeah.
Copy.
So,
no, we came up with the name before we found out that there was a comic named One Dark Knight, but frankly, it was the most appropriate title for our story without coming up with something that sounded more pretentious. Literally, we're not trying to make Gotham Soul of Vengeance, Cape Winged Crusader Dark Man. Like, it's just, we're doing a Batman story. It's Batman. It's One Dark Knight of Batman. That's it. Straight up and down. We're not trying to sit here and be super pretentious about any of it.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, I tend to not read modern comics, but I do have a couple that are like favorites, and I'll just keep those favorites and go back to them over and over again. I have a Captain Marvel one that is my favorite, and I keep trying to get Nathan to read it, and one day he will. I promise you, one day he will. It's a Shazam comic by Jeff Smith, the guy who made Bone.
Oh, yeah.
And this is actually a really, really wonderful one-off comic, Shazam and the Monster Society of Evil, where the artwork is wonderful. The characterization of Billy Batson / Captain Marvel is something I really enjoy, and this one plays with that a lot. And it's Jeff Smith's artwork. And so if you liked the Bone franchise, I mean, it's pretty indicative, and it's absolutely gorgeous and very fun. So highly recommend.
Very cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you boys again for coming on. Batman One Dark Knight, Indiegogo. Check it out, everyone. Thanks so much for your time and everyone for tuning in. Bat Force Radio, over and out. We'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you so much.